Welcome to Authentic Conversations with Ryan James Miller. Join Ryan as he speaks with top business leaders and influencers and hear how they've mastered the art of authenticity to achieve all that they dreamed of. As you hear from these leaders, seek not only to be inspired by their authenticity, but to strive for and master your own.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Authentic Conversations. All right, so back solo today. I want to dig right into what will be 9 successive weeks walking through each one of the 9 pillars of my Foundations to Freedom Academy. Not only are they the pillars for the Academy, this is often how I'm the approach I take to coaching high performers, executive leaders, business owners, higher performing salespeople. This is also the foundational principles that I live my life by. This is what I share often with my Be Authentic community, whether it's just through general text or through the premium community. So this is what I'm talking about all the time. It's really birthed from these 9 pillars. They all work together, but individually there are a lot of great things that you can take away from each one of these things. So with that said, I want to just dig right in and really help you better understand the core foundational principle or the foundation of the Foundations to Freedom Academy, and it is foundation. It is going to be talked about a lot. I'm going to say this word over and over again, but it's so true. When I work with individuals or when I just engage with people, one of the most challenging questions for people to answer is, who are you? And I know that's a really big question. There are a lot of things that come to mind. Who we are is not what we do, so it's not really that. Is it kind of what I believe? Is it what's built inside of me? Or like, where did those things come from? Is it things that my parents have told me, things that other people tell me? It really is a challenging question to answer. But what's more challenging for me to hear or to know is that so many people are unable to really answer the question, who are you? Who are you? You know, in the day and age that we live in, it's so challenging to be ourself because there are so many images and types that we are kind of called to follow. So again, this is a distraction. So not only is it hard to define that for ourselves, but then we're distracted with other images of who or what we should be, which is again why it's so important to truly understand this. And for me, this was a journey. It took a long time for me to get really clear on my foundation, really what I was going to stand on, what was most important to me, what was non-negotiable to me, my purpose, my passion, my principles. It took a long time, and it really came on the back end of large tragedy, because when something really hits us hard, it begins to call into question everything we know and believe and think and the ways we behave and the things that we say. And so it was a long process for me, and it's still in some ways it's still evolving. I think there is this sense of we are continuing to evolve over time in the way that we think and behave, but the foundation, the basic core things probably won't change very much. But you still got to know what they are. You've still got to get to the place of understanding what those things are. So, want to make this simple for you. I want to give you just a couple of things for you to ask yourself, to work through, to begin to lay this foundation for yourself. So, number one, when you think about knowing yourself, what I would start with is ask yourself, who am I? And maybe more importantly, what's important to me? Like, what is important to you? What is non-negotiable to you? What will you not compromise? What do you deeply believe in? What do you pursue? What do you believe your purpose is? Why are you here? These are the things that are going to be very telling in defining who you are. These are going to set the tone for how you behave, how you speak, the ways you think, this foundation of who you are. So again, why are you here? What is your purpose? What are your principles? What are the things that you will not negotiate? What are the set of core foundational beliefs that you act from? And though what you're passionate about isn't automatically telling of who you are, it does give a lot of insight. And so I would ask yourself the question, what are you passionate about? What do you deeply desire to pursue? What gets you out of bed every single day? What really, really excites you? As you begin to answer those questions, first of all, you're going to come up with a list of your purpose, your passions, and your principles. Super important to list those things out. But as you do that, that is going to give you some clarity into who you are. Your actions, your words, those aren't always going to be telling of who you are, because again, there are a lot of things that have distorted that reality. Sometimes what we mean or believe and what we say or what comes out of us are two different things. You're going to have to really consider that, but that's the place to start there. The second thing to think about when you're trying to understand your foundation is you have to realize that we lie to ourselves, that you lie to yourself. Oftentimes, and again, there's a lot of personality and just personal makeup that determines these things. But if you will tend to either, or sometimes both, underestimate your ability to do things well and overestimate your ability for things that you don't do well. So, a lot of people, you can relate to maybe if you've seen a singing show and you see the outtakes or the early auditions, and some people are awful. This used to be like an American Idol thing for years. They're terrible singers, and yet they think they believe they're really good. It's kind of a funny one, but it's true. One that I run into a lot is there are a lot of people that believe they're really self-aware, that they're really in tune with who they are, and they articulate well the things that they think they're saying, and it's so far from the truth. So you will overestimate things that you're actually not doing well, and at the same time, this is why we have body dysmorphia. This is why we often withhold from striving for greatness or for pushing our limits, is because we underestimate our ability to do well. David Goggins, I don't know if it was in Can't Hurt Me in his book, or maybe it was just in something else I heard. I remember him saying that the brain typically shuts off when our pain tolerance is about 80 to 85% of maximum threshold. Meaning our brain tells us it's time to cut it all off and shut it down when we still have 15 to 20% more pain to tolerate. But we believe that we're at the end. We've convinced ourselves we're at the end, and we don't push ourselves any farther. So you need to figure out in what ways you're lying to yourself. What ways are you holding on to a distorted view of yourself, for good and for bad? There's going to be both. Again, you're probably going to have a tendency towards one or the other. Overly confident people are going to often overestimate all the things that they think they're good at, while less confident people are going to underestimate their capabilities a lot of times. There's also a lot of like baked in fear from maybe previous experience that are going to hold back certain things, and maybe a false sense of confidence that was instilled into you when your parents told you that you were the best thing that ever existed, and so you've carried that your whole life, and maybe you need a dose of reality. But regardless, if you're going to truly understand who you are, if you're truly going to build that foundation, you need to come to reality. You need to stop lying. You need to believe that you lie to yourself. You need to stop doing that. You need to understand where you are in that spectrum, and where those things lie. And then just one kind of final thing is take some time to go back and recall to this point in your life what your most significant achievement is. What is the greatest, or what are some of the greatest things that you've accomplished? Number one is that will give you some tells as to where your strengths are. But beyond that, that's going to give you a good understanding of what fulfills you, what makes you feel good, what fuels you. So that's going to be telling, right, again, of passion. So you're going to get an understanding of strength. You're getting an understanding of passion. You may even, through that, gain a little bit of a better perspective on your core principles, right? Maybe those things are what led you to achieve the thing that you did. So those are some good places to start. This is key for every single one of us. If you're trying to figure out a career, you need to understand your foundation. If you are trying to get into a healthy relationship or marriage, super important that you gain a good understanding for your foundation. If you want ultimate fulfillment in life, you need to understand your foundation. Because when you don't, we end up chasing other people's purpose. We end up chasing other people's finish lines. We end up running other people's races. And those things aren't good for us. It is extremely important that we run our own race. But we cannot do that, at least not in the best way possible, until we understand who we are. And who we are begins with that foundation. When we lay that foundation, we can begin to build the habits and disciplines necessary to pursue the best version of that, which I'll get to in weeks to come. But for right now, just take some time to ask yourself the question, who am I? What am I all about? What is my purpose? What are my passions? What are my principles? How do I lie to myself, and how do I bring myself back to reality? And ultimately, how can I connect all those things together to gain a clear picture of who I am now and how I can shape my future to eventually get to be the best version of that? So with that, quick hit. Hope that was helpful. The first of 9 pillars in my foundations to freedom. Again, really just the core principles by which I live and coach by, or some of the core principles that I live by, definitely the principles by which I coach by. Hopefully that's helpful for you. You got any feedback? You know where to find me. If you want any more information, make sure you reach out to me. And by the way, if you want more content like this, if you want more updates like this on a regular basis, the best way to do that, and the place that I'm most engaged, sharing the most recurring, quick hit, helpful and beneficial content is through my text community. You can text BA to 714-202-9402. Again, text the letters BA to 714-202-9402. You're going to get an automated text back, just making sure that you were the one that wanted to opt in. And then from that point forward, it's all me. I push text out a couple times a week, all different types of things. Helpful content, tips, some motivation and inspiration, giveaways. There's a lot of fun stuff that's happening. More is going to come there. And so that all comes from me. You respond to me, I'll respond back as quickly as I possibly can. With that, be you, be happy, be authentic. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Authentic Conversations with Ryan James Miller. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and share it with others. To connect with Ryan and learn more, visit ryanjamesmiller.com.